It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Lewis Flyers assistant women's basketball coach, Coach Tierney Lockett. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college women's basketball?
Yeah, so really, I didn't know that I wanted to coach. I didn't have that aspiration to say the least. I graduated with my undergrad degree in sport management, and I really didn't know kind of what I want to do with that, which route I want to take. I know that's a very like a broad, major, and so I knew it had something to do with sports. So I was like, okay, maybe I could be a athletic director at some point, but who knows, right? So, and you really don't know what you want to do once the basketball stops dribbling. You just like, what do I do without basketball? So, our coach at the time, who's now the head coach at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, Sam Quigley Smith, she well, just like you could be a graduate assistant for 2 years and get your master's, and that way you kind of figure out during that 2 year period of what you want to do. And so I got the kind of like the gist of coaching a little bit, got my feet in the water, and I was like, okay, I kind of like this. I think I can, this is something I can do. So I did that for 2 years, and I had a good experience with the team and doing a lot of like background work. And so after that, after my 2 years was up, I got promoted to be assistant coach to stay at Lewis. So I was like, I think I could do this. I like coaching. It's different than playing, but it's similar in a sense. You can kind of connect to the girls and relate to them a little bit that way. So that's when I knew after 2 years I want to stay in coaching.
What was that experience like as a player going to Lewis and getting to play collegiate basketball?
Yeah. So, I mean, now, since I'm older and I'm kind of far removed from it, I can really look back and say that I've learned so much from playing, especially at Lewis. And Lewis is a very community-based school and university. And I'm glad that I picked Lewis, to be honest. I wasn't very highly recruited coming out of, high school, and Lewis was one of my only options, right? So I took an unofficial visit there, and I just kind of knew right away, like, this is somewhere I want to be. So going from high school to college is always a transition, and my freshman year was hard, and I was worked, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this. But as you go along, you start to kind of transition in. So I mean, I had a great experience, to say the least. I got some of my lifelong friends and teammates, that I still talk to this day. So I loved playing at Lewis. My 4 years were good.
As a player, what was it like getting to represent them and putting on that uniform for them?
It's a lot. It's big, and I think we like our alumni are so we still try to get alumni games at Lewis now, even to this point. A lot of people come back, and so I'm just glad to be a part of that. Like I said, the community at Lewis is very tight knit. Everybody kind of knows each other. All the athletes know each other, so it's important to wear that Lewis jersey. And I think we have a lot of history, a lot of like success. Right. So I know that now. Back sometime when you're younger and you're playing, you're just kind of just playing because basketball is just what it is. But now when you kind of get yourself removed from it, you kind of really understand the importance of wearing the jersey.
As a player, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
Ooh. The first thing that comes to mind, so my senior year, I got all GLVC second team, all right, which was a goal for me to get on any team to try to, make sure put my name out there. And but I would say overall, I think it's making it to the NCAA tournament every year, which is something that I probably took for granted back then, but it's not always guaranteed, right? So we had great teams. We had great teams. One time, my freshman year, we won 18-0 in conference. We beat, I think, Bellarmine at the time. My sophomore year was number 9 in the country. It's so many amazing games I've been a part of, but those are the things that kind of come in my head a little bit.
For you, what was that experience like getting to work with the Chicago Skies in the WNBA?
Yeah, yeah. So my senior year, I was in sport management as my undergrad, and so we needed internship hours, and but just through connections, I got to be got an internship at the Chicago Sky in their sponsorship department, and I was very nervous to say the least to try to come in there and kind of get my feet wet with the sponsorships and marketing. And so I was cold calling people trying to get raise money for the team, and it was an amazing experience. It definitely kind of put me out of my comfort zone, which I needed at that time, probably still now. But it was an amazing experience. I met some new people, got some connections that, I still probably can call to this day if I needed it. So I thank Lewis a lot for making me get those internship hours because it helped in the long run.
During that time, what was it like working with the Chicago Sky, and what did you learn to help you into your coaching journey?
Yeah, I think more than anything is just talking, like talking to people that you don't know, right? So you got to call people that you don't know. You kind of have a, try to convince them to raise money in that aspect. So I think it's very similar to how you recruit, when you recruit people, when you recruit girls and their families, how, what's their connection, trying to be relatable to them, try to sell, your team and why you think that they will be a good fit for your team and for your university. So I think that's kind of the correlation that both can have. And I think that's what worked for me.
Coming back to your alma mater, what was that experience like being a grad assistant?
Yeah, it was good. So I think the first year as a graduate assistant is always a little hard because it's a lot kind of being thrown at you, right? So you're coaching, but you're also very much behind the scenes doing a lot of like the dirty work, as we say, like, getting the food orders and hotel, accommodations and just, you're that person. You really are. I would say the graduate assistant and the DOBO positions for D1s are like probably one of the most important, right? I think every person in the staff is important, but especially, the GA position. And so I had to, fortunately I was under great coaches and Samantha Quigley Smith and Matt Nelson as an assistant at the time. And they, took me under their wing and kind of taught me a lot about what it is to be a coach. So I'm grateful to them for that.
For you, what was that transition like going from being a grad assistant to a full-time assistant at your alma mater?
Yeah, which I think it was seamless. If I was to say, I think it's when you are a graduate assistant at somewhere that you've already played at, you kind of know everybody. So I was very comfortable in just going to the next step. I think it was just a natural evolution for me. Um, I think the hardest thing maybe was, I just think just getting accustomed to now you're just in a bigger role, right? So you have bigger shoes to fill. You're not, as the graduate assistant, you can kind of lay back a little bit, and kind of you don't, you put your 2 cents here, here and there, but you can kind of be a little bit more removed. I think as an assistant coach, you take a next step up in terms of um responsibility. And so I think that first year, obviously, it's going to take a little bit of, growing to do. But I think, I'm what, 4 years, 5 years now as an assistant. So I think I'm making some good strides here with our team. But, a lot of it is really just the staff that you're on, the staff, the connection that you guys have, that what makes the relationship good, the experience good.
For you, what was that feeling like stepping onto that court for the first time as assistant coach?
It was good. It was good. So that was my year. Matt Nelson was the head coach at the time. And it was amazing. I think we both were learning. He was the first time head coach ever, and I was the first time assistant coach. So I think we were both learning at the same time, which is I think it's a gift and a career. It helped. I think it helped both of us. We both were learning at the same time. We wanted to learn from each other. We had a team who was already tight knit, who decided to stay at Lewis and try to work this thing out as the new people came in and took over leadership roles. So I don't remember the first game, but I'm sure it was special. It's been so many games. It's been so many games.
For you as a player in alma mater, what is that like stepping onto that same court that you played on?
Yeah, it was good. It's surreal, man. I think, it's you know, when you play or coach at a team that you played on, it's always going to be a surreal thing for me. So I think I don't take that for granted. I cherish that a little bit more now that I really understand what it means to coach where you played at, So it's good.
What are some of the things that you've been able to accomplish so far?
Oh, so we won national. I mean, we won the conference tournament last year. which was the first time that I've ever won it in mine. So I've been at Lewis since 2015, about 10 years playing and coaching, and that's the first time I've ever won a conference tournament. So I think that obviously is like the pinnacle right now of one of my best memories. But the good thing about being in Lewis is we don't lose very often. Humbly speaking, I think it's like we've just had a lot of success at Lewis. So I think every season for me has been high. But I would say last year, obviously getting that ring is very special.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach versus for your players?
Okay, so typical game day. So say we played Thursday, Saturday games for our conference. And Thursday games are at 5:30, Saturday games are at 1. So I'll just take you through a Saturday game. So for instance, we got shooting around from, about 8 to or 8:45 to about 9:25, right? So we get the girls in, get them up early, get them shooting, take them through kind of our scout and, just to remember some plays and some things that we want to do for our game that evening. And then once I get done, our girls go and do their pregame meal. And then us as a coaching staff usually go to breakfast, at one of our favorite breakfast places and talk and eat and kind of, relax until the game time. And then once, 12 o'clock hits, that's when things start, ramping up a little bit. So we try to get ourselves prepared. And I'm very, even though I could be social in that aspect, but at my heart, I'm a very like introverted person and I'm kind of by myself a little bit. So I kind of go into my own zone and kind of read my book. I'm a reader. And so try to get me in that headspace. And so after that, it's game time.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to help to build for the program?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the past, 3 years with our current head coach is, Keisha Newell. I think she's done a great job of building kind of the culture that we have now. But I think, it's been what's coming, right? So I think we have a very cohesive team, and I think that starts just from the girls that we recruit. Their personalities are meshing, right? Because you don't always get that with a team. You don't always get, 17 girls to be together as one. Sometimes you get cliques, and everybody are cordial, but everybody's not best friends. And I think for these past 2 to 3 years, I think we've done a great job, and our girls have done a great job of really stand together and meaning that is being united, and that's our word for this year is united, right? So I think we've done a good job of that, and that just starts with our culture. That's what the seniors set in when the freshmen come, so they know the expectation of what it is that we do at Lewis. And I think hopefully it just keeps going up.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah, so we play Rockhurst University, a lot of Missouri schools. So we're one of the only Illinois schools, else Quincy. Um, we have Illinois Springfield, we have Drury University, Missouri S&T, Maryville University. So a lot of Missouri schools. So we're heavily based in Missouri, but we have a great conference. Even our Midwest region is very, very successful. And so even our conference with the GLVC, we got the GLIAC, and then we have the GMAC, which makes the Midwest region. So those schools, we compete against, so we see them often. We have great games against each other. So those are some of the schools.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Quincy comes to home versus going away?
Yeah, so great question. So this year, right? So Quincy was second in the league and we were first in the league. And so we played Quincy at home maybe 2 weeks ago. And so I think Lewis has done a great job this year of trying to get fans out, student section. We got our parents coming, of course, so that kind of makes the gist of the crowd. But this year in particular, we played Quincy, and that was to kind of clinch the regular season championship. So that game was very important. And so we had the theme for the game was the red out theme. So we had, our student section, we tried to get as many people, our men's lacrosse team, we just try to get everybody we can to come to this game. And so they came, they had their red out. I mean, the atmosphere was amazing. And we play double hitters with our men. So we play first and they play after. So sometimes we kind of get a little bit of their crowd coming in at halftime, which kind of helps as well. But the crowd was amazing. I think, that's something that I'm really looking forward to is obviously as women's basketball is growing, I think we're getting more and more fans who are willing to come out and kind of check us out. So that game was perfect.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a coach, what do you look at in them?
Yeah, so I say as a coach, you're always one step ahead, right? So if we're in 2024, we're looking at 2025. And, if we're in 2025, we're looking at 2026. So right now we have our 2025 class already set and ready. And we've been recruiting those girls for about a year, almost 2 years now, right? And just getting that connection, keeping that connection, is following through their high school years. So it really is, we're looking at 2026s now, which will be juniors in high school. So we're just going to check out the AAU games. A lot of it is like word through mouth. When AAU coaches, they kind of send you some film or talk about, hey, you should come check this girl out. So a lot of it is word of mouth. And so we go and check the girls out. We talk as a staff. A lot of the times, you got some like a recruiting coordinator who kind of takes on that aspect of of your staff and kind of gets everybody on the same page of who you want to recruit, what are you looking for, what are you losing in terms of seniors on your team, and who's graduating, who you need to bring in. So it's all comes down to everybody being on the same page, and so we got a good group of girls coming in this next year. I'm excited about it.
What is that like getting to see them fall in love with the campus and the basketball facility?
Yeah, so what's funny is everybody who, your first thing when you think of Lewis, even or as I would say, when I think of Lewis, it's people think it's small. It's not many people on campus. So I think we're about 7,000, 6,500 students, and so we do have a lot of commuters, but a lot of people who stay on campus are athletes, which I love. But our campus is beautiful. Like when you come and walk it, it's a lot of nature, a lot of trees, a lot of plants. I mean, the landscape is amazing. I think people who come on a campus and actually walk our campus all the way around say like, wow, it's actually bigger than I thought it would be. Like this is a beautiful campus. And then that, you headed to Neil Carey Arena. We got our field house. We have our gym, which isn't the biggest gym in the world, right? But it's big enough. And when it gets a lot of people, say 400 people in there, it gets loud. So it's an intimate space. But if you get people in there, it's a loud place.
As an assistant coach in alma mater, what is it like getting to see them, those freshmen, putting on that jersey for the first time?
Honestly, that's my favorite. It's my favorite part of coaching almost. I think because I think it reminds me so much of myself as a freshman coming in and just like very wide-eyed and not really knowing what to expect. And you're just here because you love basketball so much. And so now I'm kind of looking at it from a step back and kind of watching them, take on that like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I'm here, I'm playing college basketball, something you dream about when you're young. So it's amazing to kind of see their transformation even from going from in September in preseason, and just those first couple of workouts are testy, I should say, and then just really seeing their evolution throughout their throughout their freshman year. So it's amazing to see. I think our freshmen this year have done an amazing job of accommodating themselves and our team with them as well. So it's good to see.
What is that like as an assistant coach in alma mater, seeing those seniors putting on that uniform for the last time?
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. So now currently we just got our fifth seed in the national tournament bid yesterday. So we just got that news, which is amazing, right? But then you also know like your season is coming to an end sooner, in March and April. And so man, those girls, like the seniors that we have now, I've been with them, some of them from their freshman year, throughout. So I've seen really the transformation of our girls. And so it's sad. It's sad. Even though I'm very happy for them and because I care about them so much, it's sad to see them leave here soon. So we're gonna cherish this moment, try to win, game by game, and hopefully we make it to the national championship game, man, and just end it that way. That would be the most amazing thing for us.
How is it like getting to see them achieve those big milestones in their careers, like their first points versus their 1,000 career points?
It's big. It's big. So right now, I'm thinking about first thing that popped in my mind was Taylor Galuza. She's a fifth year grad right now. So, obviously freshman year, she had an amazing freshman year. Jenny Badali, amazing freshman year. And now, we got this season and our, announcements just came out. So Taylor Galuza got player of the year in our conference, which is I mean, insane, right? The last person who got player of the year for us was my senior year in 2018, 2019, Jessica Kelleher. So that's just a big accomplishment. We got Jenna Badali, who got first team all conference this year, right? Who's never gotten that award. So you talk about coming in freshman year, not even thinking about being first team anything, and then slowly but surely you start to see like, okay, this is something I can achieve. And now you get player of the year, and it's like, whoa. So I feel like a proud parent, man. I'm so happy for them. Like they deserve that. They deserve that.
As a coach, how is it like getting to see them going on and playing in the WNBA or in professional basketball?
Yeah, that's something, obviously, I think any level you can, if that's something that you want to do, you can absolutely take that route of going professional. And Lewis has had some girls in the past who's went professional. We have one currently who's playing Jessica Kelleher in Sweden. So that's definitely a route that they can take that I would, be happy to support them in that if they want to do that, go to the WNBA or go overseas professional, if that's something they want to do. So if they decide to do that, then T is with them all the way for sure with the support.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Future plans would be just to keep with recruiting great people into our team. Obviously it's getting farther and farther than we had before. Repeating of conference championships is something that it's always going to be in our future. But obviously, it's winning. A CAA game and kind of taking that next step instead of just getting to the tournament. We want to win games in the tournament. So I think that's always going to be a plan, a goal for us. It's going to start this Friday, actually. As we go down to Michigan and start our national tournament, journey.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college women's basketball?
I mean, so much. It's almost like you can prepare as much as you can when you're coming from high school to college, but you could prepare in a sense of like getting yourself physically and mentally, but you don't know until you really get there. And I think for every freshman, it's going to be a transition. Like you can't expect your freshman year to be just smooth sailing, I would say. And just my experience of just seeing, freshmen who come in and coaching them. I think it's going to be tough, but I think it's rewarding. And I think obviously with the work that you put in, you're going to start seeing some of that success. It might not be, initial, and, it might take a little bit of time. And I think we live in a world where instant gratification is just such a thing. We want to get things very quickly, but life just doesn't work out that way. So I don't say, put your expectations down, but I think just have a realistic view about the team that you're going to, who's above you, the work that you're putting in outside of just your 2 hour slots of practice, right? Because that's important. Your physical, abilities as well. Because I think, going from high school to college, I think you're playing 21-year-olds, right? You're a freshman coming in at 17, 18, and you're a little bit more, scrawny on the scrawnier side as terms of just weightlifting, right? So I think just getting yourselves a little bit more stronger in that aspect, but really that mind more than anything is the biggest thing. So I think 10% is that physical, right? But I think 90% is that mind and how you think about yourself, your team, where you are, so those would be my advice, is just getting that mind ready for what's to come.
What advice would you give those juniors transitioning into their senior year and leading the program?
That's a good. So I can only think about, obviously you think about yourself as you play, right? And I think it's whatever position you're in, most of the time, like when you're a junior, you really know your team in that aspect. So I think it's really about that leadership capabilities is going from junior to senior year. You should be taking that next steps in terms of leadership. And I think that's the most important of how how you set the culture for the team really is going from junior to senior year. Yeah, you want to have your own personal goals and things that you want to accomplish your senior year when it's your last year and you like, I want to get, our conference, whatever it is. Absolutely, you should have that. But I think more than anything, try to set some team goals or things that you want to accomplish as a team in terms of leadership. Is because when you leave, it's only the freshmen are seeing what you have left and what you have built. So it's just gonna, keep carrying on.
What advice would you give those seniors that have aspirations of playing in the WNBA?
One of my best friends, like I said, right now is playing, overseas, and so I've seen kind of her journey. Um, I would say know that that's really what you want to do. Do that. I would say experience that for a year, maybe, right? You don't have to play 10, 15 years. You can experience that for a year, see if that's something that you like, especially if it's overseas because you are living now in a different country, and so it's a whole different ball game, I would assume. um, so and it's really about your personality type. If you're somebody who likes to travel and who is very maybe extroverted or not, I would say comfortable with dropping and going to another country is, quickly and playing or, over WNBA, I would say take that. You can do it for a year. You always have room to come back home and figure out another route that you want to take. But if that's something that you really want to do, it's gonna take some work.
What advice would you give those players that are looking to get started in their coaching career?
Um, I think coaching is very selfless. I think you have to be very we over me. You know what I'm saying? And so if you don't have that mindset, I don't think it's gonna work, right? I think you have to be ready for um I think you have to be ready for things to change sometime year by year. Sometimes you get new coaching staff, right? Sometimes coaches leave and now you get a new staff and now you have to reaccommodate yourselves in terms of personalities and make sure everybody's meshing on the staff. But also, your girls are leaving, the seniors are leaving. So you get new freshmen coming in and so your team is changing every year. So I would say be ready to be selfless. It's not about you, it's about the team, it's about the betterment of the team. And that would be my advice to that.
What advice would you give those coaches that are looking to coach at their alma mater like you now?
I would say do it. If you have the chance, do it. I mean, if you had a great experience playing, I think obviously I had a good experience. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. So if you had a good experience, I would recommend it. If you're somebody like me um who likes comfortability and I'm a very loyal person by heart, so I like to stay in places. Maybe, I could venture out and be a little bit more kind of, step out a little bit more. But I think I'm such a family person at heart. When I find something that I really like, I just want to grab onto it forever. Um so if you're like me in that aspect, then recommend it. But if you're somebody who's like wants to get out, then try new things.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program app?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter right now, or X. Now it's X is the thing. Coach T Lockett, Lockett. So that would be my main area where that's my like my coaching, my professional thing of that sort. So you can follow me on Twitter. Not really on Facebook anymore. So I would say yeah, the X that's where it's at.
Thank you again, Coach Trinity Lockett, for your interview and best of luck in your future at Lewis and Flyers as the assistant women's basketball coach.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.